Hey y'all, it's Chris with Rockin Farm, and it's been a minute since I've seen y'all. If you didn't notice or didn't happen to notice, we had no videos last week at all. So to the 3 of you that missed seeing my videos last week, I'm sorry. Let me explain. I spent the better part of a week not being very happy or very healthy. So you're gonna see some of what was going on last week on the farm, and the answer is not a whole heck of a lot. And the reason there wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on is because I managed to get myself pretty sick. So y'all remember the whole poison ivy thing? Well, that ended up turning a lot worse than I could have ever expected it to. By the time I posted the video, maybe even by the time I filmed the video, talking about how stupid I was about getting into the poison ivy, I was already on a steroid to help reduce all of the inflammation and the rash and the swelling and all that good stuff. I'd been using topical steroids. They just were not cutting the mustard. So the doctor, Telemed actually, put me on steroids, which is absolutely positively the appropriate treatment for that rash. But what ended up happening was that in some of the open wounds from scratching or bumping into things, or just because it was a really bad, nasty rash, some of the open wounds had some bacteria in them. And this is all new to me. I've done some research since, but steroids can spike your blood sugar. Not the end of the world, because you're on steroids for what? 2 to 5 days, right? I mean, you're not usually on steroids for very long when you're on a heavy duty steroid. So, elevated blood sugar allowed the bacteria to go, woohoo, yay, awesome food, let's grow like gangbusters. So the rash started going away. I was unbelievably pleased with how well it was going away. The steroids were working, yay. And then I went to bed one night feeling a little off, and it was the worst night of my life. I was up all night, shaking, chills, sweats, high fevers. It was bad. And we were able to get into the doctor the next day, where we discovered that this arm here was just massively infected. My lymph nodes in my armpits were so swollen that I literally couldn't put my arm down. My arm would sit out at my side. This elbow was so huge and so swollen and literally hot to the touch. Like, think about the worst sunburn you've ever seen somebody have, and you put your hand on their sunburn and it's just hot to the touch. This elbow and lower arm was just hot to the touch. Fever, chills. I sweat all the way through the mattress one night. My poor wife had to like wash all the sheets and lift the mattress up so it could air out and Febreze everything, because I was just so feverish that I literally sweat through the mattress. It was horrible. And then there was one other thing, and this is me being completely transparent, because I've always been transparent with you guys, but I have always been the big guy who was healthy as a horse. Like, I would get all my blood work drawn, and the doctor would be like, you know, Chris, I wish you'd lose some weight, but you're healthy as a horse. Your sugars look good, your cholesterol looks good, your blood pressure's good. Like, you know, yeah, I really wish you get some weight off, but you're healthy as a horse. That's always been me. But when you are a big guy, you're always teetering. You know, I mean, your health is never perfect. My sugars were good, but they were at the high end of good. My cholesterol is good, but it's at the high end of good. My blood pressure is okay, but it's just barely okay. If it was any higher, then it would be high. So I'm in good health, but not perfect health, not great health. Well, that spike in blood sugar, and when I say spike, when they tested my blood, I had been fasting for 16 hours and my blood sugar was at 144. 70 to 100 is normal when people are just going about their daily activities. So the fact that I had been fasting for 16 hours, a normal person's blood sugar would have probably been below 70 or in the 70s. It would have been, you know, down there. So the fact that my blood sugar was 144 after a 16-hour fast took me into a stage where I am officially now type 2 diabetic. So I'm no longer the big guy who's healthy as a horse. I'm the big guy who's starting to have big guy problems. We got on it right away. Jessica's been my champion. She changed my diet. I'm eating a diet that's almost, you know, completely keto. It's kind of a keto, paleo, you know, there's a few things that maybe a strict keto person wouldn't eat, but they're still on the paleo diet. But by and large, I'm on a keto diet. The rest of the family doesn't mind eating most of that stuff. You know, they'll just take like my meal that has all this meat and vegetables, and you know, the young teenage kids, they can still eat it with a tortilla. I forego the tortilla. At least for now, because I'm zero carb, while I try and get my sugar down and get my weight down. You know, and the doctor did say, because this was event specific that caused the turn into the diabetes, and because we've caught it so early, etc., I can totally get this under control and probably go back to living a lifestyle where I can have some carbs on occasion, although I think I kind of want to get to a place where I keep most of my carbs, you know, out of my garden and off my trees, and get away from the processed carbs. So I gotta say, I'm looking forward to the time that I can sit down and enjoy a beer after a long day again, because being zero carb right now, obviously I've cut, you know, all alcohol out of my diet. I never really drank juice anyhow. I never really drank Coke anyhow. If I got a craving for one, I was gonna go get one, but I was never a big Coke drinker. But y'all, that's where I've been, and the fact of the matter is, it was scary, and it scared Jessica a lot, because this sounds dramatic when I say it, but y'all, it could have killed me. I mean, the infection was bad enough that, you know, if it wasn't in a stage that you could call septic, it was close. I've still got some issues kind of in the elbow and stuff that aren't completely gone, that I'm gonna have to talk to the doctor about. You know, the blood sugar, if your blood sugar gets too high, it can kill you. And so it was scary, and it was definitely a wake-up call. And I'm no longer able to say I'm the big guy that's healthy as a horse. So I'm the big guy that needs to do something about his weight, and I'm the big guy that needs to get his sugars under control, so that that swing behind me, I can have all those sunsets that I was talking about having when I built that swing for my wife and we celebrated our anniversary. It was actually, our anniversary was on a Tuesday. It was Wednesday night that I had the horrible night that led up to the doctor's visit on Thursday. So one minute I'm sitting on a swing with my wife talking about spending the rest of my life with her. The next minute I had a wake-up call that my life might not be that long if I don't take care of myself. So that's where we're at on the farm, and that's why I was gone. But this is kind of some of the stuff that we were doing. So this is that bed that was sitting there for quite some time. This particular bed, we had all the materials, we had all the 2x4s, etc. So we put together this bed a long time, and it's just been sitting there. We finally got the soil and everything in it, and we decided that this is where we were going to plant garlic. So that's what you see Jose and I here doing now. Jose and I are planting this garlic, and it's the music garlic, the hardneck garlic. So this one, we're planting our rows about 8 inches apart, and planting the individual cloves about 4 inches apart. I think we ended up getting something like 164 cloves of garlic in this 16x4 bed. There's a lot of other places that we're going to plant garlic, but here's the kicker. Thursday is when I got really sick and went to the doctor. This is Saturday afternoon, and I felt really, really, really bad after doing this. Even though I had him do the vast majority of the work, the little bit of work that I did, I had no business being in the sun on the super duper antibiotics that I was taking, and I had no business out doing that kind of work after being that sick. So it's going to be nearly a week before I'm back on my feet, and I got in a whole lot of trouble for going out and doing this. But the beautiful part about having an amazing family is that, as you can see here, I'm nowhere to be seen. I'm running the camera, sitting on the porch in the shade, and my family stepped up and got the rest of the garlic planted. The stuff they're planting in this bed, this original bed right here, this is the elephant garlic, and I'm sitting back pretty far here, so I zoomed in as much as I could. But they're planting the elephant garlic right here, and that's my daughter that's in the military. She stopped down to see her mom. And then my wife and my other 2 kids, and you see my little guy running all over the place. So that's elephant garlic that's going in that mound. The other thing that's in that mound is one strawberry plant that happened to hold on. And then the mounds that you're going to see us, or the areas that you're going to see us planting in now, are just kind of companion areas. Garlic does great with brassicas, so we're planting garlic between all the brassicas. Garlic also does great with tomatoes, but these tomatoes are actually going to be gone soon. So we're getting the garlic in the ground. It's going to get watered in nicely. And then the tomatoes will probably be gone in about 3 weeks as the garlic is starting to peak up and needs the sunshine. So it was really cool that the family just stepped up. They said, you know, we know it's garlic time. We know it's, you know, end of October. I usually get my garlic in mid-October. We know it's the end of October, beginning of November. We know Dad needs to get the garlic in, and we know Dad can't get the garlic in, so let's just get out there and do it. And I was given strict directions to sit my butt on the porch and tell them what needed to be done. So that's exactly what I did, and it got done. Isn't it kind of crazy, y'all? I wasn't there, and the world didn't fall apart. So that was kind of the big project on the farm, y'all. Nursing me back to health was probably the biggest project, and my wife had to work really hard at that one. And then, you know, the wife and kids got all that garlic in for me, so we're gonna have a ton of hardneck garlic coming up. I think we planted like 40 cloves of elephant garlic, which means that we'll get 40 good-sized bulbs of elephant garlic if everything survives. And as far as that music goes, I think we planted something like 310 cloves, something like that. So if all of that comes through, then you know, we're hoping that we have, my goal is take the 100 biggest cloves and set them aside as seed garlic for next year, and then take the other 200 plus cloves, and hopefully that's enough to get us through a year. Assuming the garlic will last that long for us, I really want to get to where we plant a year's worth of garlic plus the seed garlic for the next year. So that's the goal. Sorry if this video got a little bit lengthy. I just really felt the need to explain to you all where I've been, and I felt the need to be transparent about what's been happening. I always want to be transparent with you guys, and you know, I mean, I've never been under the delusion that I wasn't fat. Okay, I'm a big dude. I have been overweight the absolute vast majority of my life. I've done the yo-yo diets, gone up, gone down, gone up, gone down, but I mean, I've been chunky since I was like 5. So I'm turning 45 this year. For the vast majority of 40 years, I have been overweight. It's been a struggle that I've had my entire life, but you know, it's just time to start eating healthier. And to be honest with you, it's time to start eating. Time to start eating homesteady. It's time to start eating the pork that we grow and using the lard that we render from that pork to cook our meals, and getting those above ground vegetables from the garden for me, and the kids can have the below ground vegetables, and that's just fine. And every once in a long while, I'll treat myself to those fried sweet potatoes or to those carrots in my salad. But I just need to get the sugars down. I need to control the alcohol intake, the soda, the juice, just the stuff that we don't really need anyhow, and get myself back to a place where not only am I happy, but I'm also healthy. So if any of you out there have that struggle, just know that we're in this struggle together. I'm not going to turn this into a diet channel, but I'm hoping that y'all start to see a transformation. I feel like I've lost a few pounds already just getting the 9 p.m. quesadillas out of my diet, and that wasn't a snack. I was a late dinner eater, and my dinner almost always had carbs. So now I'm eating dinner a lot earlier, and my dinner doesn't have carbs, and I feel like even just the small changes are already starting to make a difference. So just follow me along in yet another journey that's going to be directly linked to the homestead, because as we eat healthier here on the homestead, I'm hoping that it improves my physical health. So follow along. I'll keep you updated, and until I see everybody again, be happy, live healthy.